The world taught you to measure life in noise, in speed, in applause. But the soul speaks softly, and it waits patiently for you to slow down enough to hear it. There was a time you believed happiness would arrive later, after the goal, after the approval, after the pain made sense. So you postponed peace. You told yourself, not yet, soon, when I'm enough, but later became a habit, and peace kept waiting. Marcus Aurelius warned, do not live as if you had 1,000 years ahead of you. Not as a threat, as a reminder, time is not cruel, it is honest. It shows you what you keep avoiding. You avoided stillness because it reflected you, and you were afraid of what you might see. A tired mind, a guarded heart, a person who learned to survive. Before learning how to live, you learned control before trust, armor before openness, discipline before compassion, and it kept you alive. Honor that. But armor becomes heavy. When the war is over, you don't need to fight everything anymore. Epictetus said, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Let go of the performance, let go of the image, let go of the version of yourself that exists only to be approved. You are allowed to rest without earning it. You're allowed to be unfinished. You're allowed to change your mind. Still, your thoughts resist, they whisper. You should be further. You wasted time, you're too late. Those thoughts feel convincing, because they are familiar, but familiarity is not truth. Notice how the mind speaks in absolutes, always, never, everyone, no one. The mind loves certainty, even when certainty hurts. Stoicism teaches you to pause, to step back, to ask, is this thought useful? Is it within my control? If not, release it, not with anger, with indifference. Marcus Aurelius practiced this daily, not because he was fearless, but because he was human. He doubted, he grew tired, he reminded himself again and again. So must you. You are not failing because you struggle. You struggle because you are alive. Life presses. It tests, it exposes where you cling too tightly. And right now, you are learning to loosen your grip on outcomes, on identities, on old versions of yourself. There is grief in that, quiet grief. You grieve who you thought you'd be by now. You grieve relationships that didn't survive your growth. You grieve the simplicity you lost. Let that grief pass through you, not around you. Seneca said, it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. Waste does not mean failure. It means lessons. Nothing you lived was pointless, if it taught you how not to live. Every mistake carved wisdom. Every delay sharpened patience. Every loss clarified value. You didn't fall behind. You went deeper. And depth takes time. Notice the stillness returning. The space between thoughts growing wider. This is where freedom lives, not in controlling the mind, but in not being owned by it. You observe a thought, you don't obey it. You feel an emotion, you don't become it. This is mastery, quiet, subtle, powerful, Epictetus reminded. First, say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Not what others expect, not what fear demands, what aligns with your character. Character is built in moments no one sees, in how you speak to yourself, in how you respond when life disappoints you. Right now you have a choice to keep punishing yourself for being human, or to meet yourself with discipline and mercy. Stoicism never separated strength from kindness, it married them. Be firm with your actions. Be gentle with your soul. You will stumble again. You will doubt again. You will feel lost again. And that's okay. Peace is not a destination. It is a practice. You return to the breath. You return to the moment. You return to what is within your control. Again and again and again. And one day, you realize something has changed. The storms still come, but they no longer own you. You stand in the rain, present, steady, not because life became easy, but because you became rooted. You begin to notice the difference now. It is subtle, almost invisible. The chaos still exists, the world still demands. But something inside you no longer rushes to answer every call. You pause. That pause is power. Once, every thought pulled you like a rope around the neck. Every emotion decided your direction. Now, you watch them arrive. You let them speak, and you decide whether they stay. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." For so long, your thoughts were heavy, dark, urgent. So the soul learned to feel heavy too, but color can change. Not overnight, not by force, by repetition. A single calmer thought, a single moment of restraint, a single breath taken before reaction. This is how a new inner world is built. You once believed strength meant never breaking, never slowing, never admitting fear. But Stoic strength is quieter. It bends without collapsing. It endures without bitterness. You were not weak when you cried, in silence. You were human. You were not failing when you felt lost. You were searching. Seneca understood this when he said, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body." The weight you carry is shaping you. Even now, every disappointment refined your priorities, every setback stripped away illusion, every lonely night forced you to face yourself, and you survived that meeting. That matters. Look back without hatred. Look forward without fear. Remain here without resistance. This moment does not need fixing. You are not behind schedule. Life has no fixed calendar. The oak does not rush the seed. The mountain does not envy the river. Each moves according to its nature. So must you. You wasted years trying to be understood, trying to be chosen, trying to be enough for everyone. Now you learn a different lesson: to choose yourself, to understand yourself, to be enough for your own conscience. Epictetus said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." Embodiment begins with restraint. You don't need to respond to every insult. You don't need to chase every desire. You don't need to correct every misunderstanding. Silence, when chosen, is not weakness. It is discipline. You stop leaking energy into places that cannot hold it. You stop feeding fires that were never yours to put out. And slowly, your inner world grows quieter, not empty, clear. In that clarity, values emerge: integrity, simplicity, presence. You begin to ask better questions. What is required of me right now? What is within my control? What response aligns with who I am becoming? These questions become anchors when the mind storms. They hold you. Marcus Aurelius returned to them every night, a ruler of an empire, still learning how to rule himself if he needed reminders. So will you. Do not shame yourself for forgetting. Returning is the practice. There will be days when the old patterns resurface, when anger feels faster than patience, when fear speaks louder than reason. On those days, remember this: you are not starting over, you are continuing. Progress is not a straight line, it is a spiral. You revisit the same lessons with deeper understanding. The pain feels familiar, but you are not the same. You see more, you pause sooner, you recover faster. That is growth. Stoicism does not remove suffering, it removes confusion. It teaches you that some things belong to you, and some never did. Your actions belong to you, your intentions belong to you, your character belongs to you. Reputation does not, outcome does not, the past does not. Release what was never yours to carry. You feel lighter already, not because life changed, because your grip loosened. You begin to sense peace, not as excitement, but as steadiness, a quiet confidence, a grounded breath, a mind no longer at war with itself. There comes a moment when you realize you are no longer asking life to be different. You are asking yourself to be present. That shift changes everything. Before, you waited for calm to arrive, so you could finally breathe. Now you breathe. And calm follows, not perfectly, not permanently, but enough. You begin to understand something ancient and simple. Peace is not the absence of hardship. It is the absence of resistance to what must be faced. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "Accept the things to which fate binds you." and love the people with whom fate brings you together. Acceptance does not mean approval. It means honesty. This is where I stand. This is what I can do. Nothing more, nothing less. You stop negotiating with reality. You stop begging moments to be softer. You meet them as they are, firm, clear, undramatic. And strangely, they soften on their own. You notice how much energy you once wasted on resentment, on wishing others were different, on replaying conversations that ended long ago. That energy returns to you now, quietly. You invest it where it belongs, in attention, in effort, in intention. Epictetus said, "Make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens." This becomes your compass. When something goes wrong, you ask, "Is this mine to change?" If yes, you act without complaint, without delay. If not, you let it pass through you, like wine through an open window. You stop turning inconvenience into identity. You stop calling hardship a personal failure. Life happens. You respond. That is all. You begin to trust yourself again, not because you expect perfection, but because you know you can endure imperfection. You have proof. Every breakdown you survived, every ending you outlived, every fear that didn't destroy you, you are still here, and now you are wiser. Seneca wrote, "He suffers more than necessary who suffers before it is necessary." So you stop borrowing pain from the future. You stop living tragedies that never arrive. You stay with today. Today has enough to work with, enough breath, enough strength, enough clarity. Tomorrow will come. When it comes, the mind still wanders sometimes. It still reaches for control. It still whispers doubts. But you don't argue with it anymore. You acknowledge and return. Return to the body, return to the breath, return to the present task. This returning is not weakness, it is discipline. And discipline, practiced gently, becomes freedom. You notice something else now. You are less reactive, less defensive, less hungry for validation. Not because you stopped caring, but because you chose what deserves your care. Character, action, alignment, everything else is noise. Marcus Aurelius warned, "Do not let your mind run on what you lack, as much as on what you have." So you take inventory, you have awareness, you have restraint, you have the ability to choose. Your response. Many never reach this point. You did, and with it comes responsibility. To live deliberately, to speak honestly, to act according to principle. Not impulse. This is not a vow, it is a direction. You will drift sometimes, that is human. But now you know how to return, not to who you were, but to who you are becoming. Someone steadier, someone quieter, someone less afraid of their own thoughts. You don't need the world to slow down anymore. You have learned how to stand still. Why? In it. You arrived here carrying weight, questions, fatigue you could not name. You leave with less noise, not answers to everything, but clarity about what matters. You understand now that life does not need to be conquered. It needs to be met, day by day, moment by moment. You will still feel pain, you will still stumble, you will still doubt, but you will no longer be surprised by it, nor owned by it. You have learned the difference between what asks for your effort and what asks for your acceptance. You have learned that calm is not something found, it is something practiced. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Nowhere you can go is more peaceful, more free of interruptions than your own soul." You know where to return now. When the world grows loud, you return to the breath. When the mind grows cruel, you return to reason. When fear rises, you return to character. This is enough. You do not need to rush forward. You do not need to prove anything. Walk steadily, act justly, accept fully. And when the night comes again, as it always does, you will meet it, not with panic, but with presence. You are still here, and now you are awake.